Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing fantastic. In this video, I'm going to show you and talk you through, give you some expert advice around how to win a load of clients. Now, this is going to be advice around what sector is the easiest actually win clients in. So if you said to me, Cads, I need help, I just want a ton of clients, this is going to be the sector for you. So I'm going to go into what sectors. I'm also going to give you the job titles of what to search, what type of companies to contact, and it's going to be a simple sort of format for you to follow. So if you are struggling with clients, you're not getting any joy from your current sector, this is probably going to be the video for you. So I've made some notes, I'm going to go through them. By all means, if you want extra support from me, you can go on cadsmoney.com, you can book a call with me, and there's a link in the description as well. So at any point, if you need me, just book a call. I'll be able to offer consultation with that. So what I need to start off with is by saying a short disclaimer. This is not going to be the most profitable. This is not going to be the one that's going to make you a ton of money. I don't know how well you're going to do in it. I've done very well in it. A lot of business, a lot of money. The last year, it's in, believe it or not, I'll cut to the chase, it's in healthcare, but it's also in social care. Now, the reason it's a good sector to be in, it's evergreen. Yeah, pandemic, recession, it doesn't matter. These jobs need to be filled. Hook or crook, they need staffing. A sales company can shut down, go on furlough. A care company cannot go on furlough. They cannot stop operating 24 hours a day. Yeah, and the reason behind this survival of the pandemic and recessions is just because they're human beings. They have to be looked after. If someone is in bedbound, or someone needs extra care through the day, there's nothing to say. Short of nuclear war, I think those people will still be looked after as well. So that being said, what you're going to look at is I've made three sort of topics that I've looked at some data on my end and I found have really been useful. What particular job titles? So there's two job titles and there's one sector within it. And this isn't to say if you don't get too excited by healthcare and care staff, this is not to say, I would say about 25% of my desk is actually filled with positions that are non-clinical, meaning they're office staff, they're, care coordinators, they're, drivers, they're salespeople. There's so much in it. So for example, if you think healthcare and you look at pharmaceutical, which is a massive sector, by the way, that no one really looks at, I've got veterinary care as well. So I've got animal care that falls into healthcare. So I'm recruiting salespeople for pharmaceutical companies. So it isn't just to say you can't find a niche in this or that massive sort of topic. If you say, oh, I recruit for all of healthcare, it's going to be hard to pull off. So you do still need to find a niche within this. But the three I'm going to give you is going to be something where you can say, oh, great, that's fantastic. That's what I need to aim at. So if you're struggling with the clients, this is going to be for you. So number one, I'm going to talk about and I'll explain why. So children's services is a difficult one. Now, I've had experience in all of these, so I can talk about them to a great length, but I'll summarize it just for the for the video purposes. So children's services, why is children's services so good? So children's services has a less amount of staff in the marketplace, simply because a lot of it is based around qualification. There's a lot of background checks. Children are more difficult to deal with. They need a specific type of person. There's different types of qualifications as well. There's less jobs, so that means there's less people operating it. So when there's a lot of jobs, that means there's loads of people floating around. Children's services is even more difficult to recruit for. So companies struggle more, therefore they give more business to recruitment agencies. So what would you look at with children's services? Schools fall into children's services. Residential schools are very good and an underlooked part of the marketplace. You could look at housing. So with some care homes, and don't quote me on the numbers, some residents are given, I don't know, 50, 60,000 pounds per year just to pay for their staffing needs. So most people, business owners, some do, and I've been told this by clients, they buy a home, the council put two people or two service users, so two children, like an EBD home, and what they do is they get funding for those staff and they can afford to pay recruitment agencies. So going off from that, a lot of agencies work solely with these EBD homes because they're well funded. Now the funding is going to be cut. I'm not saying it's, you know, all lavish for them, but children's services tend to have budget to use recruitment agencies to find their staff. And this will loop into the second one I'm going to go into. But if you are looking at children's services, you can look at social workers, you can look at schools, you can look at family support officers, you can look at the admin staff around it. There's not particularly too much sales involved, but then again, construction will loop into that. Some of these big care homes need, you know, caretakers, they need drivers. There's all sorts you can sort of look at it within that. So I would definitely look at children's services as being a dynamite sector. Yeah. Second is a one that I've been reluctant to give away for a while, and I've given it to a lot of people I've coached and they win business non-stop, and it is registered managers. So a registered manager is basically somebody in charge of a care home. That is the manager that's registered by CQC or Ofsted. You're probably looking at about salary of around 35,000 for a CQC. A CQC registered manager will be somebody that is working with people over 18 plus, so adults basically, and they're regulated by the CQC. Yeah. The reason that they really struggle with those is because there's quite a tough qualification to do. You need to be experienced in that sector. It is a tough job. Predominantly, it's a Monday to Friday job, and people have moved up from support workers all the way up to registered managers and studied as they went. Yeah. The trouble or the gap in the market is children's services again, where there is still a gap for registered managers, CQC. They're very easy to fill. So if you target that or you set up a specific agency just recruiting registered managers, you'll do very well. So if you can look at an Ofsted rated or Ofsted approved registered manager and you can attract them in the marketplace, companies will be very excited to deal with you. And I've had companies in the past where they've said, you're the guy that can find me registered managers. I said, yeah. So you get known in the sector quite easily as well, and because there's no one else doing it well or specific. So if I was going to set up a very small niche agency, it would be this. It's probably the best on the list in terms of you can find the candidates. They're all out there. Go on LinkedIn and have a look if you don't believe me. And you can find the clients very easily. Like everyone will be looking to engage with you on that, especially if you've got registered managers in the area. So if you're looking to win business and you just want to find a sort of job title, you want to set up a part-time niche agency, it's very underlooked. The other thing is, unless you're operating in the sector, most people don't know what a registered manager is. I mean, they've never heard of it. They think of healthcare, they think of doctors and nurses and care staff, but they don't actually know there's a massive demand for registered managers. And that's something I picked up from a while. If that's too difficult, you can always look at deputy managers, which is, you know, a deputy to the registered manager or someone that's going to be qualified in a year. So you can always look at that, bit of a lower salary, but still in demand, especially on the children's services side. And going into children's services, you want to look up support workers. Particularly some support workers require a health and social care level 3 children's residential qualification, which not a lot of people have. So if you can work with some companies, I think one of my first clients gave me like 5 to recruit, which is very local to me as well at the time. So you can look at that and start to recruit for these sort of job titles. Now, the third one, and stay away from it, but it's nurses. So I would only advise people to go into nurses if you are clinically trained as a nurse, for one. So if you are actually a nurse, or you've got a good element of attracting nurses. And nursing recruitment agencies only really do well if they're offering the contract and temporary side, simply because it's a very candidate-led market. So nurses typically say, look, I'm willing to work for an agency if they pay well and they give me the shifts I can do. So it isn't a case of permanent. Now, the clients ideally want permanent staff. So if you can attract a nurse to work permanent, full-time, Monday to Friday, whatever the shifts are, then you're going to do even better. Now, with nursing, I would definitely look at that as a sort of later on. I wouldn't look at this as my first sort of, you know, port of call or my first time opening an agency, what I have to look at. You have to look at, okay, great, where's somewhere where I can get liquidity in terms of the candidate pool? I can get people to discuss with me. You're going to find it. There's a lot of agencies spending big money to attract nurses. So you're competing with people that are spending 20, 50, 100K on marketing, and they got, you know, 100 plus staff, and they're just looking at all the job boards, they're scraping them all, they're contacting. You're late to the party. You can only do so much. So they're very hyper competitive. I mean, if you can get them right, if you can get nursing right, definitely I would look at it. So they're my top three. They're the three that I would look at if you're looking just to win business and then get the ball rolling. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, please let me know, and take care.